episode 5 of the Sense of Adventure series, a series dedicated to helping you save for travel and save during travel. Keyword during, because this episode is going to be showing you how to save during travel. When you're already there, tips on how you could keep costs low. I have no idea how long this list is going to be because I'm just gonna be shooting off tips as they come to my mind. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I have been like wired all day on caffeine. I haven't ate anything yet, so this is the Allison you get. Let's roll the intro. Don't assume that round trip tickets are the cheapest. Sometimes it could be 2 one-way tickets. And the next tip, I've only seen it with Norwegian Air, but I also haven't tried it for any other airlines. If you change the currency, sometimes the price will be lower. So for example, if you're on Norwegian airline and you are going to London, change the currency to pounds because that could be cheaper than just paying in US dollars. So you'd want to do the conversion, but after the conversion, it still could be cheaper than paying US dollars. Pack light. Enough said. Pack light. Basically, checked luggage fees are ridiculous. It should almost be a crime. Either consider, if you're traveling with someone, consider consolidating your luggage into one and splitting the cost of one fee, or consider a carry-on. Carry-on is beneficial for many reasons. They won't lose your luggage, and you most likely it's included in the price of the ticket. So just think about what you really want to bring. Worst case scenario, you can always bring a carry-on and throw a smaller bag inside, or fold up like a duffel bag. That can be checked, because if you do end up needing it at the end of your trip, you're only again paying for checked luggage one time. Take advantage of what you paid for. When I was in Singapore, I want to believe, no, it was Seattle. When I was in Seattle, big change. When I was in Seattle, the hotel offered free wine hour in the hotel lobby. And so we kind of waited to go out and really we weren't drinking until that wine hour. Basically, it was free glasses of wine. They didn't limit it. And so, I mean, we weren't getting crazy wild in the hotel lobby, but you know, that was a few free drinks. And that came with, you know, it was just there because we were hotel guests. So stuff like that. Get a card or bank account with no foreign transaction fees. So most travel rewards credit cards will have this. I want to say it's Charles Schwab. There might be other banks that do this, but essentially they are checking accounts with no ATM fees, and you can withdraw from any ATM, including international ones. So when we were in Thailand and we were traveling for 6 weeks, we didn't want to carry a bunch of cash. And so we used that as a way to withdraw cash without fees. So something to look at. Definitely you want a card though, at the very least, with no foreign transaction fees. Another workaround, which I did in Germany, if you are traveling with a group of people and one person is willing to go to the ATM and withdraw cash for everyone, you guys can split that ATM fee and then say Venmo or Zelle that person the cash. I hope that makes sense. So, you know, gotta get creative with avoiding the fees. Use apps to find entertainment. This can be done, you know, reading other blog posts, Googling things to find out apps, like local entertainment apps for London, or, you know, so-and-so, wherever you're going pretty much. And then talk to locals, because in expensive cities especially, there's a lot of apps and resources that help you find the deals. So just become one of them, become a local, and scope out the deals, because you know, you never know what's out there. There might be some really cool discount app that has flash sales on Broadway shows, and you never would have known that because you don't live there. But with a little research and a little talking to people, you can find that. You can also look into city tourist passes. City Pass comes to mind. They have a bunch of destinations around the US. There's even, you know, like the London Pass, for example. They're pretty much in every city. They offer a city pass, and so that will grant you multiple sites and museums, for less because you're bundling the admission. So check that out. It could be cheaper. Take advantage of free attractions. This is kind of a no-brainer, I would assume. I think everyone really talks about this as a way to travel the world for cheap. If you're someone who's going to museums, look on their websites because they often have free admissions days, like once a month. So like the third Wednesday, it's free admission. So I don't know why I did my head bobble that way. Whatever. Don't forget your student ID. Even if you aren't a student, think twice before tossing it because you can often find student discounts into places. I graduated in 2014, but you best believe I still got my student IDs. Oh, my hair. Haven't had the chance to curl it yet because I'm gonna go on a walk after this video. That's besides the point. Moving on, how to save money on food while traveling. This is obviously a big portion of the budget, so how can we make it cheaper? Lots of options, actually. Funny you asked. Don't over tip. In the US, when you go to a restaurant, the standard tip is, 15 to 20%. If you tip less than that, it was either bad service or you get cheap, okay? But say in Europe, it's probably around 3 to 5%. This, just know before you go. Even in Japan, they said tipping is not customary. In fact, sometimes it could be rude, but what we did discover was that actually that's not the case with the younger generation. Tipping is very much appreciated there. It doesn't have to be a high percentage, probably 2 to 5%. Don't go to these countries tipping 20%. That's over tipping and you could be wasting a lot of money that way. Dine at restaurants during happy hour. And if you're not sure, ask about the happy hour. And sometimes it could be a late night happy hour. So don't assume that happy hour is just at, 5 o'clock sometimes. There's happy hours that start after 9 o'clock. So just ask. Shop at local supermarkets and cook your own food. So if you're booking a hotel, look for a hotel that has like apartment features with the kitchenette and all that good stuff, or an Airbnb or a hostel that again has a full kitchen for you to store food and cook food. You also want to skip restaurants with translated menus, meaning if you go to the restaurant and they have it in 8 different languages, you should probably go eat somewhere else because it's going to be overpriced. It's geared towards tourists, which leads me to my next point. You want to eat at local restaurants. For me, that's part of the fun, is finding kind of hole in the walls, off the beaten path, places to eat. I just feel like I'm getting a more authentic experience. And that includes traveling in the US. If you are traveling on a budget in the US and Europe, Asia, wherever, look for local restaurants, or you can just walk around. Go down the dark alley. Go down the dark alley. There's probably an amazing restaurant at the end. I know, because I actually did that in Brussels and everyone was freaking out because I turned down this sketch alley and we ended up at the coolest bar ever. So bring your own snacks and water bottle to the airport. Yeah, enough said. It's expensive. Water at the airport, if you want a smart water, is like $6. What? No. Bring your own water bottle, bring your own snacks. And this is a great way to eat healthy while traveling. It's also a great way to avoid, it's one of the steps to avoid jet lag. I did write a blog post about that, how to stay healthy while traveling. And one of the ways to reduce jet lag is to stay hydrated, eat healthy, like non-sugary carb foods before you board, while you're flying, all that. So bringing your own snacks and water bottle is healthy and cost effective. How to get cheap transportation, how to save on transportation. Book stopovers to see more places. I do talk about that in my last video, travel hacking, which is a great video. You should watch it. Stopovers are amazing, especially if you want to see more places for free. Yeah, in that post, I talk about all of the airlines and what their stopover offerings are. I'm not going to get into it in this video, so go watch that if you're curious about how stopovers work and how you can book them. Ride shares over taxis. Don't assume that Uber only operates in the US. They operate globally. So even if you are using a SIM card, just download the app. I know Grab is really big in Southeast Asia, and it's cool because you don't have to load a credit card on the Grab app. You can just say you're paying in cash and then they'll come pick you up. Mind you, sometimes they don't show up, but that's an option. So yeah, you don't want to take taxis. Rideshare is usually going to be cheaper, or walking. I like walking if you're in a nice place to walk. Check for mistake fares. This is my favorite website for checking mistake fares. There's a lot of different ones, but this is a good place to get you started. This is also where being flexible comes into play, because if you catch something, if you know you want to go to the destination, if you're flexible with when you want to go, you're going to find a cheaper price. That's inevitable. You're going to find. Spend time outside. Enjoy outside, you know, find hiking trails, go to the parks, just walk around, you know, do some window shopping. Enjoy being in the place that you're at, you know. There could be joy just walking around, finding secret gardens, you know, you never know. Go outside. Ride a bike. Now, if you're traveling to multiple destinations, so say you're backpacking, the rule of thumb is to live cheaply in expensive destinations and live like a king in budget-friendly destinations. So for example, in London, you probably, if you're traveling on a budget, you want to stay in a hostel, you want to couch surf, you want to stay in very cheap places. But if you're going to, say, Budapest or Praha, or, you know, places in Eastern Europe or some of the smaller cities and towns, you can stay in a nicer hotel because it's probably going to be equivalent to that hostel in London. Consider staying city center. Hear me out. If you're in one of those places where all the sites and attractions are centralized, it could be more cost effective to just stay in the city center and avoid having to pay transportation fees, which public transportation isn't expensive, but it still could add up if you're there for a long period of time. So it might be cheaper to stay in a city center hotel or hostel, wherever it is that's near the focal points. Be flexible with your plans. Now, I, you know, advocate for planning out an itinerary, but there is a fine line between planning and over planning. You want to leave some room in the itinerary to be spontaneous. You know, you never know who you're going to meet and what opportunities that will present. And that's the whole point of traveling, is just getting lost in these places. So yeah, go with a general sense of what you want to see. You know, do some planning on your part. That also helps to keep costs low. But at the same time, be flexible. Don't have your heart set on a certain month of going, because it might be cheaper to travel in the off season, which leads me to my next point. Travel in the off season. It could be cheaper. So just be flexible with that, and always look at different months to see what is cheapest. Know your budget at all times. If you haven't watched my other videos in this series, like that one, you should, because it walks you through the travel budget, and this one, which shows you how much you should save for vacation. And the reason you want to know your budget at all times is because when it's at the front of your mind, you are more likely to stop and think about it before making an irrational purchase. I get it. It's easy to get sucked in when you are completely consumed with the surrounding, i.e. Disneyland. In the link there, and in the description, there is a link to my free bucket list budget and travel planner, and it helps you break down, you know, it's a worksheet, so you can help organize your finances and your budget for when you're on the road. So, you know, something to take with you. Is free in the description. Ugh. Legs are falling asleep sitting on the floor. I must move. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys. I hope this helped you. I hope this whole series was beneficial to you, at least for planning for future travel, because we all know that it will be back. Anyways, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're not already. Give this video a like if it did help you. Ask me questions in the comments, whatever you need to do. I'm here to help you, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.